Why is this show called This You May Ask? So I'll tell you. The accepted meaning of angel is messenger, and the accepted meaning of destiny is to make firm establish. So my guests and I bring you messages to establish what you need to know in the present. And also, I like working with angels and the calmness they bring. Now, in a moment, I want to introduce you to my wonderful guest, Soumya Karkera. But before that, I'd like to say thank you so much for watching the show live at a later date, as it means a lot to me to connect with like minded women. Now, if you've never met me before, then my name is Ray, and I love to help women to crossroads in their life, heal their past, create their future, and transform their present so they can take charge of their destiny in the here and now. I'm the founder of Radiant Angel Energy, and I use future life progression, past life regression, guided meditations, angelic Reiki, angel oracle cards, and hypnosis to help women who feel lost get clear on their reason for being here. And I've also created several transformational packages to help you take charge of your destiny and also a journey through lifetimes. Now, each episode of the show covers various themes of your journey, a mini guided meditation or angel oracle card reading with the wisdom of my wonderful guests, like today's guest, Soumya Karkera, about how you can love being you by finding your strengths. Now, Soumya is a life coach for children, young people 8 to 18 years old, who also works with parents and supports them in their parenting journey. Now, before deciding to become a life coach, Soumya spent 16 years getting to know children, young people, both in primary and secondary school settings. She's also worked closely with parents, helping and supporting them in their parenting issues and making healthy connections with their children and families. Now, in January 2021, Salmina made the conscious decision to offer her services independently and reach out to children and parents who need her support to move forward in life. Salmia strongly believes in empowering children to find their inner strength, to feel connected with their positive self, and build their resilience at all times. In their sessions, they explore tools and strategies that work well for them so they feel confident to use them whenever they face setbacks in life and can protect their own mental health, which is so important, especially in this day and age. Now, Salmia's superpower is that she is a strengths finder who focuses on the solutions, not the problems, helping you to move forward and getting unstuck. So, without further delay, hello, Salmia, and welcome to the Angels and the Destiny Show. How are you today?
Hello, Ray. Thank you very much for inviting me to your show. I'm doing very well. The sun's been shining today, and it's August, right? I've been feeling really well. I've been excited about coming to this show and um, sharing my, you know,
Wisdom and
sessions of
knowledge.
wisdom and knowledge with anyone who is watching.
Oh, that's brilliant. So, before we get into this fascinating conversation, I want to remind you that you can also share this video, but you can also ask questions, leave comments and thoughts, as both Salmia and I want to be part of this conversation. So, please do not be shy. So, Salmia, why don't you tell us more about your journey and how we can love being ourselves?
Oh, my own journey I think it's about starting from when I was a child, where I faced quite a lot of struggles or adversities. I grew up in a very small village in India. I had stable family, I would say, parents, grandparents, uncles, aunt. But most of the difficulties were around growing up issues or challenges around school or not being able to move forward because sometimes you really don't have the skills to help you to get unstuck. And I think that's what actually happened. I did have parents, uncles, aunts, teachers, adults to actually go and talk to, but they probably did not have the skills or tools to help the kids and to listen to them. They provided everything that we needed to grow up, but there was a missing link. And my own struggles as a child, seeing my struggles or issues with my siblings, And when I listened to my friends also from school, I felt all of our issues were the same. We did have supporting people in our lives, but we really did not find a way to move ourselves. It could be failures, big or small. It could be issues with friendships. It could be self worth, self esteem issues. It was very difficult to navigate ourselves because nobody was helping you or teaching you how to do that on your own. In my case, I think I was lucky because when I was 16, I had a big setback in my life because of everything that the pressure or the society pressures. Where we come from, every child is expected to be a doctor or an engineer or a lawyer or the white collar jobs. And it was such a huge pressure that even at school the competition was quite high. We were academically good kids, but I think as the challenges got doubling or when it really escalated, sometimes things got very, very difficult. Um, and I think at this time, accumulating all the issues that I have had, I decided not to do my 12th grade exam that is equivalent to A levels, which is the future deciding exams for kids in India. Like, if you don't do that exam, you lose a year. But
Okay.
I made a conscious decision that first and foremost, I didn't want to be a doctor or an engineer. And being the oldest in the family, I had a lot of responsibility. I was told continuously, you're the oldest child, you need to set a good example for your siblings, your sisters. You can't make mistakes, you can't fail, you can't do that, you can't do this, you have to do this because the society wants you to do that. If you stray, right, then your sisters will. So I found that weight to carry so burdening. That was one of it. Like, I kept thinking as a teenager, how is it my responsibility to show a way to my sisters, right? I think that literally um, crippled me at some time because I was told that so many times. And then the whole pressure around, you have to become a dentist, and that's when you will live your life, that was getting very difficult as well. So I decided very consciously not to do my exams. It was a huge blow to my parents, and I knew I was going to disappoint them, but I felt if I don't disappoint them now, they didn't know how to stand up to the societal pressures. They were going to keep pushing me, and I would do things that I didn't like or enjoy life. It was at that time when I had that setback. We were asked to pray every day. Coming from India, every child knows how to pray. We were taught how to do the chants, and we did it every day. So my first ever life skill or tool to put in my box was to chant. And I would go at that altar and sit with the gods, and I just chant. And I was 16 at that time, and I felt the power of actually, okay, I didn't know it was really going to do anything, but that 20 minutes and just chanting internally helped me to strengthen. So I took a whole year off. That year I was labeled very badly as a dumbhead, someone who doesn't have any brains, and that's why I hadn't done that. They started to say negative things about my parents, that they hadn't done a good job, etc. So that whole year was negative. But I think it was the best year of my life because that's when I stood up for myself, not just for the society, for myself, but also had to stand up against my parents' wishes. I had to, like, literally think, okay, if I take my path, then maybe my sisters will know how to do that for themselves. Maybe I am doing the right thing, but probably it won't be recognized now, probably later. And for a 16-year-old to take up that courage and do that in that small village was was like, it made me sick every day. But I did it. I still did it. And then I pursued social work. Even that, I am the first woman or the girl child to pursue social work in my family. It was never heard of. They put so many barriers for me to not pursue it. But I realized doing social work will get me to my goal of working with children and young people and families. And once I did that, I don't think there was any looking back, because I then became an education consultant soon after I finished my post graduation in social work. uh, and then in 2007, I came to England. I got married and I came here with my husband, and I knew England would open all the doors for my work. So from then, it's just been from 2005 until 2019. That's been my world. I've just learned, I've just retrained in certain aspects, because those social work courses is the same in India. There were the whole legislation aspect of it which I had to relearn or do, or that was new, working with children, young people, families. So my first job was of a parenting officer, and I got the job in England within 6 months of arriving in this country. And it was the best thing to happen, because from then I have dedicated my life, or I have worked with so many children, that I have got to know so well their problems, their issues, what do they thrive on, what is it that they need from their parents, their behavior, anxiety, which is becoming so much of an issue, especially after the pandemic. What are their growing up issues? What would really help them to move forward, right? I think I just love doing that. And in a way, it's just a healing process for me, because of what happened in my childhood. There were so many unresolved emotional experiences. And now you are a healer, right? You would definitely understand the power of healing. So when I had all of that accumulated, I being in the well-being industry, and you know it, we all have plenty of tools in our toolbox. Right, you name it, and we know it, we know how to use it, the time, what to do when we feel upset or emotionals just accumulating, and adversities we haven't dealt with the previous issues. But there were still some unresolved emotional experiences. It's because that the chapters were not closed fully, the closures haven't happened. That's when I accepted and was open minded about healing. And I welcomed healing in my own life. And I went to do a bit of theta healing for myself, which is the working with energies. And I think throughout growing up, I believed quite a lot of believed a lot in energy. And when I did this myself, within 3 sessions, I was able to close the chapters, reconcile with who I am, and move on in a very spiritual way. And even after the loss of my father, I think that helped me. The tools and other aspects were there, but the healing aspect, the spiritual, the healing thing was one which gave me a complete closure and helped me to move forward and to be one with myself. And I think that's where the internal journey also started. Now, I did a course with Theta Healing, so I work with kids, understand their energy. Obviously, I don't offer Theta as my
Yeah.
service, but I use it as part of my work to absorb their energy sometimes, and to help and guide them, and to offer them help in that way. So, yeah, so that is my journey.
Wow, that's quite amazing, and really in that day and age, when you were young, to actually do that, to actually go, do you know something? No, I'm not going to follow what everyone else does. Hats off to you. That was absolutely so brilliant that you actually were able to do that. I mean, how did it work with your sisters in the end? Did they do their own thing, or did they follow the path?
No, they did they did their own thing. I think I still get told I was a spoiler. So I've got two sisters, two younger sisters, and one of them is a makeup artist, though she studied to become a CA, and she worked for the banks, the investment banks, and then she quit and she said, "I'm not going to do this. Want to be a makeup artist." So she is now a makeup artist, and the youngest one was expected to become a computer engineer. So my parents didn't give up. They didn't give up, but she refused to take that on, and then now she's an interior designer, but she also works with the Bollywood industry, where she designs sets for advertisements, etc. But she's also taking her steps in the journey of becoming a wedding planner. But
Wow.
having said that, we come from a very traditional, I think to some aspect, my parents or my family was progressive, but I think they were a bit scared that most of the family or their grandchildren were girls. So to everybody, there are only two boys in the family, the rest of them all are girls. And to be very honest, nobody has taken become a doctor or an engineer.
Not
There
even
is
the
only
boys.
one engineer, and the rest have all just followed and done. One of them is a baker, one of them is a shares broker now, another one is a jewelry designer, and one is followed my footsteps. She is being training to be a social worker, and another one, yeah, she's gone into engineering, but she wants to be more into business management. So yeah.
I think it's absolutely, I think it's absolutely brilliant, you know, and it just goes to show that when one person starts to make changes, the ripple effect that it has on everyone else is because the energy of seeing you do it, you being successful doing it, really sort of like translates to others, especially for women, for girls as well.
Absolutely.
um because you know, not so much in our culture, but obviously in your culture, but we still get it, we still get to it to some degree, that girls are supposed to do this, boys are supposed to be do that, rather than letting, you know, let the child choose
Yeah. Yeah.
where they want to go. And I suppose you probably see that with the work you do when you work with the children, with you work with the children and parents.
Yeah, I see that quite a lot, and I believe in, or I wouldn't say believe, I think taking the child's lead is very important, because when I was small and I was trying to say that I am not that, but I'm this, I felt like absolutely powerless. And I strongly believe that a child, no matter how small they are, they have a voice, they can be equally powerful, they also enjoy freedom. And I think the society pressure, plus when your parents especially don't know how to stand up and how to protect your child's needs or desires, or to fully, they might be in some way but they still don't know how to do it fully, right? And I think that happens even now. So I do come across a lot of children who are angry, who are anxious, who are scared, who are fearful, because they really don't know how to stand up for themselves in certain ways. They don't know how to communicate or express how they feel, what they want, what is that direction they want to go to, because to an extent they are scared and they feel powerless. I often ask the young people a question like, where do you feel most powerful? And where do you feel weak? Do you feel powerful in the playground or in the house, in your room, in the school? And it's interesting how each one says that, oh, I feel powerful at home, but I don't feel powerful in the school playground. I feel powerful when I do art, but I don't feel powerful when I do maths or English. Um, So they know, and I because it's my own personal experience, and because when I was young and all of my cousins or my peers went through the similar problems, I'd accumulated that, okay, we all are small, but why is it all adults? Even in the school we were not encouraged to express or have a voice. We were always told not to ask anything that was not too bookish. If it was in the book, we can ask. If it's not in the book, we can't ask. Contradictory to that, social work is everything about asking questions. You won't believe me that when I came to this country and I had to ask questions, I was just not good at it. It's because we were not encouraged to ask questions. Any small questions, I'll be like, it'll be in my head, but it won't come to my mouth and I won't spit it out. And I think that was a biggest struggle. So therefore, I in my sessions I encourage children to ask questions, like, there's no silly question, right? There's no dumb question. If that's a way of expressing yourself, and if you want to do it with your parents or someone who is in a position of power or authority in that environment that they live in, they need to be able to ask that. um, and I think the healing journey for me explains that very well, because when we were younger we weren't allowed to ask that in school, so it built in fear. And then I think that caused a lot of IBS to me, the fear of not talking, the fear of not expressing, the fear of what will I be told or asked to do if I ask this question. So that then goes into the body and it's accumulated there, and then it affects your nerves, it affects your cells, it affects everything, and then it comes up as a psychosomatic um, symptom. For me, it was IBS, and I suffered with it until my early 20s. And I knew it was because of the nerves or the anxiety that it was causing, but every time there was a trigger, this would happen. And I think for me, observing all these behaviors, observing all these changes, that kids are now in an environment that is so much different from where you and I were possibly. They have the whole world at their fingertips, which I didn't have. If I had if I didn't pass in a test, or if I fallen out with a friend, I'd come home, I'd sleep over it. Next day, I'd not have any contact with them. I'd maybe talk to my grandmother, go back to school next day, maybe avoid that person if I could, or maybe we would just talk, but I'd not carry that it in my pocket to my bedroom, to my bed. Whereas today, kids are doing that,
Yeah.
and the problems are traveling to them in their bed, and it's continuous. And I feel the challenges are very different from what we have
Yeah.
faced, and they have multiplied. And kids have so much exposure to content consumption, because kids who come to me, they will say they would have self-diagnosed and say, I have anxiety. How do you know you have anxiety? Because I looked up on Google and I have all these symptoms, but that does not say that yes, there are symptoms, but you are self-diagnosing yourself. So I think in my journey of working with kids and young people, it's been rewarding and hugely satisfying in a way that sometimes it's just about saying, hey, come off that Google. You don't have that anxiety. Don't do that. Talk to me. Let's explore. We use the session to explore. We use the session to see what is real, what is not real. We bring in evidences to say, if you have anxiety, then we need a doctor's report. Probably we need to do that. That is a piece of evidence. How many times do you feel like that? So talking to them, it's about information, it's about sharing that awareness, it's about helping them to go to that site which they can trust and actually look for information that is true to them, teaching them techniques, teaching them tools, holding that space for them to share and express what they are going through, because not every child will speak to their parent about their problem,
Yeah.
but they might speak to somebody who is neutral, who they can. And I think it's been really really good that way. And I feel that in the pandemic since last year, I've been able to support kids who felt hugely anxious about their
Mm.
exams, especially the 16-year-olds. Now they're doing their interviews and they feel that, oh my god, interviews and this and that and the COVID and all that. And they're so young. 16 is still young to make any life decisions. And parents as well, where parents feel not so confident in being able to support their children, especially where there's a communication breakdown or a relationship breakdown. I think that is where I step in. And most parents these days are working parents, both parents are working. They don't really, they want to make time for the kids, but they probably cannot because they're pouring too much energy in so many different directions. At the end of the day, I think the children and the parents get the worst of it, worst energy, and all the good energy goes to work or goes to friends or goes to something else. So I think in my sessions, that's what we do. We keep it real. We help the children to pick up and explore their inner strength, because I feel every child has a strength. They need somebody to pick on them and to accept themselves as who they are. That is why it's called being me and loving it. Like, I didn't feel like that until I was 35, 34. Um, though I knew from within that this is me, I had a huge difficulty accepting some of my goodness actually. And I kept hiding myself underneath it. So I think every child needs to know that these strengths are within them. They have these resources to unlock, and it's not outside, it's within them, and they can do it. And this is what I exactly do in the sessions, help them to connect with themselves and with their positive self and be who they are.
Yeah, which is absolutely perfect, and what it should be. And obviously, with your experience, you're able to help them with that. And that's one of the things, when with future life progression is quite good as well with young people, because it
Absolutely.
gets them to see, their future, and know that there is actually a future for them, and it's not everything that they read in the doom and the gloom and everything. There is actually a future for them, which is very important. And I suppose you probably notice as well that when the children or the young people start having that different mindset, that it actually translates to the parents as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I see that quite a lot. And it's the vice versa as well. So it's like a mirror reflecting each other. I can see my mom now, or in the past, she was very resistant to anything. But as she saw her children achieving, and the society is secondary, and then the society will not come and help us with everything, right, with our adversities. And when she realized that, I think she started to reflect, and she is developing. I would say she's moved miles from having a fixed mindset to now having a growth mindset. And even with my daughter who is 11, I think she's been brilliant. She's actually so progressive with her. And I don't think it's to blame my mom, because she was not exposed to the type of liberal thoughts or development that we were. Now, even we were born in a very small village, but I think we were lucky somehow that my parents chose to send us to a school which exposed us to quite a lot of learning, and we had a thirst for education. And I think at one point I had to tell myself that education is the only thing that will get me out of this hellhole, like where we were stuck. So though I missed for 1 year, it was basically trying to tell myself, okay, no, education, education. I have to go back to this school. I have to do that exam. I have to study. And and I think I just persevered that and got into the social school and completed my post graduation. But many people, even if they go to school, I think the exposure part of it does not come because you are a girl, or I think it's the gender discrimination that you get married and you will settle. And yeah, so that is the whole thing. But you are right, once the children make the shift, parents will see that and then they start to mirror that as well. And I think every parenting style, sometimes every individual parent has their own parenting style. It might be because of their own experience, it might be because now nuclear families are quite popular, right? We don't really have grandparents, uncles, aunts. So it's about what you consume on media, or sometimes your own way of, which might be the best way, and every parent knows their child the best.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes there is a little bit of holding back when asking for help. And I think that's exactly what my parents did. They could have asked for help, but they didn't, because they felt they'll be judged for it. And parenting should come naturally. Like, you're born and you should know how to be a parent. And
If
asking for help
only.
is like really a negative label on you. But I see these days that parents who come to me, they do have their reservations, but it's also saying, hey, I, being a coach, and who have social work qualification, or who have worked with parents, I still make mistakes as a parent. I have a child. I might have worked with thousands of children. I might know their problems. I might know all the problems in the world. Maybe a book. I can write a book. But when my daughter presents with her own issues, I don't have a solution then and there. Sometimes we don't have a solution. That is the solution, right? So I still struggle with it. I still make mistakes as a parent, but sometimes for me it is like, just going and checking with another friend or somebody else, like, hey, this is happening with me and my daughter. Have you experienced it? If it continues, do you think I need to get on some extra help on board? It might be a short intervention. Maybe some parents just need 1 or 2 sessions, or just talking and helping them to clear those blocks. And then they feel, oh wow, okay, was it that, was it this, it's just that. So I think it's a two-way system.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, where sort of like you're helping the young people, and like yourself with your daughter will go on and she'll actually, follow her own path, the way
Mm,
which will lead on to another, which will lead on to possibly her children or future generations. So it is again that ripple effect that, okay,
yeah,
I understand who I am,
yeah.
what I'm doing, my strengths, how I can actually make my way in the world, which then helps the next generation. So it's absolutely brilliant. That you started that trend and you're continuing it now with your work for other, not just your own family, but for other people as well, which is absolutely brilliant. To be able
Thank
to do
you.
that.
Thank you. Thank you, Ray.
Yeah. So, as you know, I do angel oracle cards, and I do mini. I know what I do, guided meditations. So each week, I always like to ask my guests whether they would like me to pull an angel oracle card for them and people that are watching, or to do a mini guided meditation. So, Soumya, what would you like me to do?
I definitely go for the angel card.
Funny enough, I have them in my hand. It's
Yay!
amazing, no? Okay, so when I do the cards for what you need to know for your highest good at this moment in time. because I believe everything. Well, I don't believe. I know everything should be in the present,
Mm.
as you do with your work as well. Everything is what's now. The part, although I will do past life stuff, when we heal the past, that means we clear it so we're fully present. And when I take people into the future, they know their future, so they come back to their present, so they're not worried and they can be fully present. So it's always about being present. So what? Oh, okay. I think we just had a load of cards come out then, and my poor cat just jumped. Bless her. I'm sorry, sweetheart. Sorry. Can't say we can use one of those because we just had a whole load jump out. So let's try that again. So for the Selma and everyone who's watching need to know for their highest good at this moment in time. Okay. That one has wanted to come out. Perfect. Discovering truth. You stand in the light of truth.
Oh, that's perfect.
Absolutely perfect for what we've been talking about. It's
Right?
confirmation on what you were doing, with what you were helping, and and it's saying continue with what you're doing. You are sort of like bringing the light and the truth to others. To helping them on their path. So yeah, and for everyone who's watching as well, it's standing in your own light, in your own truth, who you are, who you are supposed to be, how you can bring your gifts to the world and not take notice of what's going on around you. Stop worrying about everything that you see or hear, you know, that may not be the truth. Your truth is
Yeah,
what you know. And
absolutely.
that's so, yeah. So thank you for that. That's absolutely a beautiful that's actually come out. And thank you for the work you're doing. It's really amazing. Anything that can help young people, which in turn helps their parents, their family, and others. Is absolutely brilliant. So, Salmia, do you have any insights or thoughts to leave our viewers?
I um I would say you know, listen to kids. If you have children, they communicate in various ways. So listen to them. And as parents, if you feel that you need to slow down and really think about certain things that will actually move you forward or bring the connections with your kids, make it stronger. If that is your goal, then you need to like really think of how you could be moving forward in that direction. What are some small baby steps to take? And I think these are the only wise words or insights that I could say at this moment. But yes, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, just asking yourselves.
I think they're absolutely brilliant. Insightful words. So thank you so much for that. And everyone, I hope that you've enjoyed this conversation and found it insightful because I know I definitely have. So, Soumya, if people want to connect with you, how do they do that?
They can connect with me on Instagram. I am on LinkedIn. I'm on Facebook as Being Me and Loving It. Though it's not the business name, it's like what every young person or parent would might want to say after they have rediscovered or found themselves. And obviously, there is a phone number and an email that they can get in touch with me. They can also do the 30 minutes free session with me to discover if it is a right fit for them, to do my coaching sessions. So, yeah, these are some ways to get in touch with me.
Brilliant. And what I do is I'll put the links into the comments after the show so that people can just literally click on the link and go to your Facebook page, Instagram, or connect with you via email. So thank you so much for your insight and wisdom, Salmia. It's been absolutely brilliant having you on the show. And thank you, John, who has been uh, commenting. And now I don't know if you saw the comments, but one
Yeah.
point he said, "Good for you, Salmia."
Yes.
And that, so yeah, so thank you, John, and thank you to everyone else who has been watching, and yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed it. So, and of course, if you have reached that crossroads in your life and you need help in finding your meaning of life or getting clear on your path, especially after the pandemic, and you're not sure where you're going, what you should be doing, then I would love to be that guide for you. So please feel free to reach out and connect with me, and we can arrange a free 20 to 30-minute video call to find out more about each other and whether I think I can help you take charge of your destiny or point you in the right direction. And of course, please feel free to join my weekly newsletter and receive a free future life progression recording where I take you into a future lifetime where you can actually get guidance and clarity that you can actually use in your current life. And there's a couple of other free gifts there as well. So thank you everyone so much for watching. And I'd like to invite you to share this video, as I'm sure there are more women, parents who feel lost and want to get clear on their destiny just like you. And of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then please feel free to subscribe. And of course, you can hit that bell to be notified of when the show goes live, or to any of the guided meditations that I post on there. I'm also on Insight Timer as well. So do check out the guided meditations. And again, thank you, Soumya, so much for being on the show. It's been a pleasure having you. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to seeing everyone the same time, same place next week. Take care, everyone. Bye.